Hey, Energizers, welcome to another episode of the Jonesin 4 Show. I am beyond excited to have you here joining us today because it's time to energize. It's time to live your life to the max like you have been. We are going to take it up, not just a notch. We're going to take that whole thing up and go to 11 with that sucker because today we have a special guest joining us just for you. The guest that can help you reboot your life, help you learn how to turn up your vibrations so that you are attracting amazing things into your life. You are able to chase your passions, do all those good things. Believe it or not, he's amazing. And you believe it or not, it's going to happen to you, right? Whether you want it or not, if you put it out to the universe, it's going to come your way. And our guest is going to show us how to do it. So without further ado, let me introduce James Heppner. Welcome to the Jonesin 4 Show. James, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. And I look at your shirt and you and I have something in common already. Red. I clearly like red. It's behind me, it's on me, and it's on you. So we are connected. You're a brother from another mother. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, brother. That's great.
Dude, of course. I love having you on, and I love red. One of my favorite colors. I'd say blue or green is right. Is my first, but red is probably the third one there. And it's my wife's favorite color. So look at that. Getting all around. So, James, I am so excited to chat with you and have you on the show. I loved when we sat and chatted last week. We got to know each other even more, and we realized, wow, we vibrate on the same level in so many ways. We resonate together, and that's why I was super excited to have you on this show to share your enthusiasm, your energy with our energizers, with everyone here who listen and watch the show, but also more of that, because I know you have some amazing things that can help them reboot their life. So with that, knowing your amazing energy, I'm just going to pass over the mic to you and let you share your story. Where did you come from? How did you get to be the amazing, energetic James that you are today? Go for it. Mic is yours, brother.
That's awesome. And so just on that note, just tying together what you're saying, I do recall when you and I talked, what was fascinating is that we connected on so many differences. And I think I appreciated that most. Like very similar, but very like distinctly different. Totally. And being so open to holding difference, right? And so to me, that brought a lot of life into my veins, because when you can connect through difference, it's like, holy smokes, this is another level. This is what we talk about, what it looks like to build a relationship beyond just what I referenced for, but to go into that wide open space of being like, okay, what's going to be here if we just radically accept this moment and then this perspective, and how so, and not to convert to the other. And so though you and I, we kind of come from aligning or very similar faith traditions, like you're a believer, a Christian, I'm a believer, and I think we hold our faith open. I think that's one of the congruencies you and I have, where what we say is, hey, listen, right, like we do align with something, however it's open and it's inclusive, and inclusive makes room for many a unique perspective. And so what's interesting is it's helpful tension. It's not wrestling with conflict, it's wrestling with helpful tension, right? So to your question, like what allowed me to become, and I forget exactly the terms you use or the language you just use about like being an amazing human. I'm like, well, one of the things that people get to know about me pretty quick is I fight to be about average, real quick, right? I'm a I am what we all are, and that's we're created special, but I'm as special as all of you are. We're all but equally special, but we have to own that specialness and how that looks, right? So what allowed me, so to your question, what allowed me to become who I currently am? I just simply have to say that first off, I'm a coach. I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I've been a property developer and a real estate land developer, and I've done several things in my life. I've built a few enterprises, but when I think about this personal development space, that which I participate with in 100% now, like I have no active moving pieces in other places, other individuals manage that for me. But what really had me engage here and choose this as being the space where I handle all of the moving pieces within this sphere only is some people say, well, you chose it. And I would have to say, and I think you've probably heard this before, but for me, it just resonates. And that is the industry chose me. Because I realized that everything really is about building a relationship with yourself, building a relationship within beyond just what I have referenced for, what I'm mastering on this level, but something that takes you so deep that it just draws you and brings to the very surface these, and I'll be honest, these undealt with things, these celebrated things, but a bunch of things. And it's like, whoa, to experience what's inside of you. Like, I used to always think, bringing magic to clients was amazing. And it is. I love bringing magic, just like you. I know you do, because that's who you are. I mean, just look at you, man. You're just vibing. You're just like chilling in this space. Your big glow of a smile. It's like your clients know this about you, right? And so my dad was a pastor of a mega church, and so I saw him light up a lot of people, and he was a really successful in that sphere space. Yet sometimes I remember as a child, I remember coming back after, let's say, the Sunday worship, or let's say during the week, and he was a farmer by trade. And I remember thinking, I wonder how happy he really is. The idea is this: the industry chose me because not only is it about serving, but it's like loving who you are firstly on the inside. And I've gone through journeys and ups and downs, and that's a beautiful thing, like wrestling with all these emotions and being like, I get to feel all of this stuff. That's fully live. And so to feel everything and to celebrate and then to enjoy that from within, not just to bring that ability to other people. But when I look at the industry, it literally has me go deep into the sphere, and it allows me, it's like the perfect mate. Like, I'm married to this wonderful lady for the last 21 years. I got 2 teenage kids. I love them dearly. 2 boys, just amazing. I got a little pup, Charlie. But if I look about, if I look about this creation, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I came by myself into the world. I'm going to go by myself, more than likely. You know what I mean? I came wet. I'm going to go dry, hopefully. I don't want to die drowning, right? So, like, the reason that I'm red and the reason that I'm not blue is I am not water element. I'm fire element. I'm on land. So, anyway, there you go.
I
Yeah.
love it. You can hear the energy. The fire inside you is red hot, and you're sharing that love, that energy with other people. That's so incredible. And I love what you said, though there's many things, amazing, great things, but two big takeaways that I heard were, one, that you're fighting to be average. And as much as we love to put people up on pedestals, of, oh my gosh, they're so great, they're so amazing, they're just human. They're just like you and I, no matter what, whether they're, a homeless person down the street, the pastor at the church, or a movie star. It doesn't matter. They're all human. And so we are all fighting the good fight. We're all there together, working to make this world a better place. Hopefully we're all working to make this world a better place. That's the goal, at least. So the fact that, we're all the same. You and I, we're no better, we're no worse than the Energizer, you listening to this right now. We are all on the same field. We are just at different points in our own journey, but we're all on that same battlefield together, if it were. And the other thing that I caught that really drew me in is the fact, oh crap, it just left me. Like, I had it, and then like poof, like it just gone. Oh my gosh. So hold on, give me one quick second, and we're not even gonna edit this out. This is just gonna be here because this is how the show goes, right? It's just natural. Is the fact that, oh, that's right, that things come up. So this space chose you, that, this personal development space. Well, you're listening or watching this right now because you want to improve yourself. You want to live your life to the max. And so that means you're doing personal development. You're growing personally. And when you do that, there's some amazing things that come up in your life. Oh my gosh, I did this really well. Oh, look at this awesome achievement. Oh, I could be on this summit. But as you said, there's a lot of things that aren't comfortable, the uncomfortable things that come up, the stuff that we repress, the stuff that we oppress, the stuff we didn't want to deal with, that now we have come up, and we go, guess what? You got to deal with that. You got to work through it, or at least understand it, to keep going on your journey. And that's something, again, we all have that in common. When we start doing personal development, when we start growing and trying to become better ourselves, we have to deal with that stuff. So with that, it can be overwhelming when we start to work on this stuff and we dive into this world and go, holy cow, the whole thing's open to me. But also, oh my gosh, all this darkness is here and I'm overwhelmed. How can we not be overwhelmed by it? What are some tips or strategies you have that through your journey that we can use to not be overwhelmed when we dive into this?
That's a great question. I'll never forget. So this is a slight reframe, but when you say overwhelmed because of certain things, a quick reframe for me is overwhelmed instead of for something or to something, about something, be overwhelmed for and towards something.
Mm.
So there's that slight little slant, and not hyperbole. I get it. Like, I totally get it. Sometimes we're overwhelmed because of certain things, right? And that's a moment. And if we don't process that moment, it's not going to really help. It's a bit like what just happened. What just happened when you're talking and you're like, what did I just want to say? And I think that's the most beautiful moment when you observe how someone handles their own inner tension. Do they reflect that, okay, and we're all cheering for people that when they have a moment to process, not to rush it, be considerate of yourself, right? And so the way you held that was just amazing, because I think the universe, we all gasp when something new can happen. And something new that happens is when we get to co-create with something larger than ourselves. So it's like you had a thought and it was there and then it was gone. And it's the most beautiful thing, because what was once seen now becomes unseen and then becomes seen a new thing. And it's like, holy dynamics, and so therein lies a clarity. And so instead of us, and it's like you just went for it, you just trusted that this is what, when you came back to this place, it was probably a formulation, even that was, whether you use the same words, but the emotion behind it, the gasp, the gasp, like what we as humans choose to participate with now. We all have an opportunity to participate with something. And it's like right now, for this moment, and this is not a coaching moment, it's just a realization, just a beautiful awareness. And thanks for revealing. It's just amazing. It's like, listen, you're fully human, right? And so you got to participate with that moment. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay. So, and I don't want to get like scriptural, because, though you and I are believers, but we've deconstructed our faith to a large degree. We're not dogma people in that way, but it's a bit like this, right? I'll never forget, Rick. I was raised in a very conservative environment. And so my parents would often be like, yeah, well, in the Bible, it says, I'm like, what does the Bible say? Right. As a child, you're listening. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to go to hell, so I better listen to this one. And it talks about, in the beginning, there was darkness. And you're like, ooh, scary.
Right.
Right. And so you're like, ooh, that must not be good. And then light came. Oh, that was the saving grace when light came. But of course, as kids, what do you do when you go to camp with your friends? You strap on a backpack, not during the day, at night, grab a flashlight. That's the best.
Exactly.
Get night crawlers. It's amazing. Okay.
So much fun.
So it's like, it's a lot of fun. So the adventure of, so if you want to take all the juice and everything out, then you're going to go about excluding things like the darkness. But actually, it's a bit like this. It's a bit like when I think about, so you're saying earlier, you love the color red. I love red. I have on that wall, there's a picture of a lion and a lamb, and there's a red painting around it. And for me, it's like fierce love. What's fierce love? People are like, well, here's the thing. I just want brightness. I just want to see half of the picture. It's like driving your car and you're like, listen, I'm just going to look forward and it's working. I'm looking forward. I don't want to see the other half. I don't want to see what's beside me in the mirror. I don't want to see what's behind me in the rearview mirror. And guess what? It works only until you want to change lanes. You change lanes and guess what? You sneak past and you don't hit someone, only until you die one day in a body bag. So you have to see the other side. If you don't allow the other side of strength to erupt, which is enjoying the weakness, there can be no strength. If you don't actually enjoy the darkness and you don't find adventure in the darkness, like how many things finally, because you can't see everything, are you now focused on? You can focus on the flashlight, wherever you're pointing. So when I look at a tip, I don't know if a trick or tip, but it's a little bit like we give so much meaning to the categorization of life. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. But if we go in a different slant and we're like, you know what? If everything was for my good, how so? And we don't ask ourselves just how so. It's like, what now? If that's so, what now? And we go, what now? What now? We just keep going. We reframe the mind until our mind literally goes, I never saw it. And the cool thing about what now is it's not going beyond reality. It's not going away from fact. It's holding the fact. You're in the bush, it's dark, and you're like, oh, crap.
Right.
I hear something, right? I hear, this is not fun. You're like, what do I do? What do I do? And so so you're feeling all this stuff. You're feeling it all. And so it's not about saying, I don't feel it, I'm chill. No, you feel it. And while you feel it, see, the felt experience is the lived one.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't feel something, we're not going to be about much, right? So I think, so to answer the real quick answer, I don't know if me, I'm just wanting to further the debate, but it's like, well, just a second. Then came light. And if you think about it, if there is such a thing as a God or a source or a universe that created everything, all that I can say is if it was once dark and it went to light, what kind of disturbance would there need to have been, or what would the source or the creator have been okay with in relation to disturbance?
Mm.
The creator would have had to been totally okay with bringing massive disturbance. Because imagine this, you're in your bedroom, you're sleeping, you're nice and tucked in, you're like snoozing away, it's nice and dark, and you're like having to relax, and all of a sudden your child comes in your bedroom and rips open the window, and it's totally dark outside, but he goes, not bright enough, so it shines a spotlight in your eye. You're like, oh crap, I don't want this. So what kind of disturbance would the source have been okay with to create light? And so it's like, wait a minute, maybe, and this is the interesting thing, I do a reframe. And it's probably because of my faith tradition, but I say, what actually was possible because of darkness? Maybe everything is built on darkness, because disguised in the darkness are always the gifts. And actually, I think some of my biggest gifts that bring me tears, man, I could just cry now, the biggest gifts of my life have come on, I see the other side. If you just see one side of the coin, you don't have a coin. You have what you think you see as something, but unless you see to the side, you don't own that coin. You want to own your life, own both sides of yourself. Feel all of that stuff. Live it. Find the gift. Don't change bloody facts. Own the facts. Be okay with reality. Deal with that. And then be like, you know what? And I think eventually what will erupt is you're going to start realizing as a human that there are just some conscious acts of rebellion that you must participate with. If not, society will say, Hollywood will say, nothing against them. I got clients in that space, nothing against them. Okay. But it's a little bit like this. Happily ever after. Well, you've been married for a while, right? So just putting it back to you, right? What have you experienced when it comes to marriage? It isn't happily ever after, not this, is it, right?
No, it takes work, right? It takes effort. There's highs and there's lows. There's some happy moments and there's also some not happy moments that happens in marriage, for sure. Exactly. And I love the reframe of what if this thing's all built on darkness, and just looking at that I love the analogy of the coin. If you only look at the bright side of the coin, the one side of it, you're only getting half that picture. That's all you're getting, and you're missing out on this whole other half. And the thing is if you're looking at the light, right? Let's keep the light darkness thing going. You're looking at the light. Great. It's beautiful. I see light. But when it's dark, it's scary. And there's things hiding in the bushes, and we're afraid to look under the bed. And I have my flashlight, but it doesn't shine that far. And the battery's flipping dying on me. And I'm getting worried. I'm getting scared. Holy crap. I know there's darkness here. There's darkness everywhere around me, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid to look at it. I'm scared to look at it because I know it's going to hurt. I know it's going to hurt me inside. But as you said, once you look at it, once you unpack it, once you go through it, you work through it, that there's gifts. You learn, you grow from it, you become stronger. Then you see both sides of that coin and you go, holy cow, sure, I made mistakes. Sure, there's things back there. But that helped me become who I am now. And that helped me become even better and improve. Now, there's some people who it doesn't make better. They live in that and they let it suck them down into that dark realm where they're not living life to the max, right? They're not enjoying life because they're letting that drain them constantly. They're not looking at it as, oh, I can learn from this. I can grow from this. So I'm going to throw it back to you. We're looking at the darkness. We see it. We feel that fear because it feels negative. It feels like we're going to be hurt by this. And we know we are. How can we embrace it? Sure, there might be learning and might be growth on the other side, but right now I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. How can we work through this?
Mm-hmm. That's a great, that's a great perspective and a great reflection back. How can we, it's really what you're asking and paraphrasing here, but how can we make those entry steps towards something that we have appointed as the thing we don't want?
Yeah. How can we go towards that pain and know that we're going to come out okay?
I don't know for everyone. I just happen to know for me, and I know for my people I work with, there has to be a need that erupts in the sphere of your life where you're realizing I must do something different now. Now, it doesn't always have to be like that, because some people don't just change because of great pain. Some people do change because of great love. Mm-hmm. But typically, survival instinct is why we change. For most people anyway, right? You want to see the human jump real high. You just activate some type of physical death threat and he's going to move pretty quick, right? It's just going to happen. So I would have to say you have to, so the first step would be you have to first find need of it. So it being looking somewhere else. Now, when I think about it, I think as humans, we're all adventurers as far as I'm concerned, but somewhere along the line in between childhood, teenage, and adult, we seem to, how would I say, be about focused on the serious bags of life.
Right.
The answers, getting ahead. And, to be perfectly honest, I mean, to play that tension, nothing wrong with it to a degree, because we want to shore certain things up. We got to stay laser focused on a career. I don't know, to get ahead, get the house, get the partner, you know what I'm saying? Like align with, then though, I think what ends up happening is we're like, okay, so yeah, maybe, so I'm 45 and so I do a lot of workout routines. Like I have certain biohacking devices and I love staying young. And so it's like, what is young? Young is like back to the adventure piece. It's always being like not in an unhealthy way, striving for not being content with your current state, but it's to be like, interesting. You know what? I once knew this, but now I realize I don't know. So I think you have to be lost each day a little bit to be found each day in a new way. So it's like, I don't know anything about this, and be okay with not knowing. You see, focusing on the knowing constantly is just focusing on your need for certainty. If you look at during COVID, what are most people, when you think of brightness, tying that together? I think brightness, if you're just wanting to see everything in the light, like meaning seeing beyond what you even can pick up through your peripherals, like have light behind you. I'm not saying it's wasted light. What I'm just saying is this. I think what it actually reveals in most people is that they're deathly afraid of uncertainty, deathly afraid of not seeing everything, seeing beyond what they can see. So they're actually so afraid of not really enjoying, and uncertainty meaning variety. And variety is like, I once knew, but now I don't. And actually, what I did know is really cool. I'm glad I know, but now there's another level. I want to go deeper on it. So it's like, right? I want to go deeper and deeper. And when you go deeper and deeper, the texture of life and the flavor, taste and see. Taste, it's like, oh, it's right there. And it's like, oh, my goodness, I got to go in. I got to go in. And when you're called into that, and just for darkness sake, called into the bush of your life, it's like, to be honest, I've done it about like this. But I've been married for a couple of years and I've realized the happily ever after that happened at the wedding. And after that, I'm just saying life is real. Life without tension isn't real. Without having polarity, it's not real. It's not real. So it's like the whole idea, I think for me, what it and this is just my take on it. But one day I was just journaling and something came alive. So you know how you just gasped before and something new came, or your thought?
Right.
What came to me was the thought of, and I wrote this down. I now want to, I am becoming. And I thought, now that's a statement that's going to hold me to the fire each day. I want to, I'm becoming. So am I okay? Am I okay? Like I'm just a human, just like you. But am I okay with who I'm becoming? Meaning, how am I handling the things that are available to me? And if I have an invitation to look at something through a new lens, I maybe once feared it. It's like COVID was the perfect. I hope society hasn't been lost on society, that we now look at and go, wait a minute, we have an underdeveloped muscle for our desire and our comfort level for not knowing. And it's a bit like, I hope people a little more like, you know what, we're actually all in the darkness half the time anyway. Like, right? It's right? Look at it. It's bright outside, but how many people, me included, you're only aware of what you're aware of.
Right. That's it.
And then you go for a walk with a human like you or my wife or my dog informs me of stuff that I don't even know. I'm like, what? So it's like, wait a minute. I think this is really cute. I think that I know what's going on because it's bright and I want to keep it really bright. But these people are bringing me darkness. And here's, I think, the worst shit that happens. The worst thing that happens is we push all of those nudgings to do that dark work in the lightness out. And then when nighttime falls, we say shit like this, pardon the language, but we say stuff like this. We say stuff like, oh, nothing good happens after dark. And it's like, oh, see, this is where culture narrative, again, gets in us. We're like, yeah, and perhaps my teenage sons, I don't use that term, but let's be honest, you guys have a curfew. You know what I mean? Right? So it is kind of what it is. So I think for me, the kicker ends up being, When I ask myself, do I want who I'm becoming? I now want who I'm becoming. That holds me to the constant fire. When something comes up, listen, what you don't deal with in the moment and you kick down the line, you're going to deal with a whole bunch of darkness. And guess what? That darkness, it's going to feel like not just overwhelming you for something. You're going to seem overwhelmed to it. You're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right. It's the unknown. The unknown is the thing that we fear, that darkness, because we can't shine the light on. We don't know what to expect. And you know what? That's okay. That's a beautiful thing, because life is a mystery in so many ways. There's so many amazing things out here we need to see and need to should experience to learn and grow. Not that we need to, but we can. That's available to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the idea of challenging yourself. And so it made me think of food, and I love food. So we'll go with this. Pizza and burgers are my favorite food. Unhealthy as they are, freaking love them. So let's just go with this analogy real quick. Let's say I order I have pepperoni pizza and bacon cheeseburger. That's my dad. That's what I order every time, right? Every time I go to a restaurant, it's one of these two things I order every single time. And I know it. I like it. It's good. But that's all I order. And then maybe I want to try something new, but I don't, because I'm always afraid it's not going to be as good. It's not going to be the same. I'm not going to expand my horizons until I go, I need to step outside my comfort zone. Go, okay, I'm not going to order that bacon cheeseburger or the pepperoni pizza. Instead, I'm going to order, I don't know, this salad, right? Try to be healthier for a little bit, or order, some chicken or something else, or let's go out for sushi. Let's go out for Thai. Let's totally break the mold, or even take those baby steps. Okay, I'm not going to do a pepperoni pizza. Instead, I'm going to do sausage and onions and green peppers, right? So now I'm breaking outside that mold a little bit. But we get so used to seeing that light and being in that comfort zone of the light that we see the darkness is there, but we don't want to address it because it's big, it's scary, until we need to step outside. And that's where that growth happens. That's where you can embrace those things. And as you said, we can walk to it and be like, this is how I learn, this is how I grow. I want who I am becoming. I become, that person by living each day, by growing, by accepting, or I could become that person just by, not doing anything. Then I'm staying relatively stagnant and falling behind. Do I want that? No, that's not what I want. So I want to keep growing. Let's keep pushing it. Let's keep stepping outside that comfort zone. Let's order that salad, right? And not always the delicious, greasy burgers. Let's find a delicious salad we can have too, to mix it up. So little food analogy in there, but stepping outside that comfort zone to explore that darkness that we have, because we all have it in our life, and not just the darkness of our past or pains or problems, but just the unknown. And that's okay, right? Because we see what we see, which is a very, very small, tiny baby percentage of what this world has to share with us. Like, I think I know things. Great. And I know music pretty darn well, right? I can play piano really well. I can do all that stuff. But there's a lot of things I don't know about music. And then I can look beyond that. There's a lot of things about the world I don't know. Like, you put me in Africa or even Australia, I'm out of my comfort zone. Right? But this is how we learn and we grow. We take that step outside. For sure. So
I love that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, all yours, man.
Yeah. I was going to say, I love your analogy in food and pizza and toppings and different things. And, it's fascinating because we all have a desire for something. And when I say for something, anytime you want to change your life, look to see what is the formerly old unwanted and the formerly old unneeded, and the things that you've perceived as dangerous. And when you bring a new want and a new need and a new level of safety to those exact same things, it's like, if you ever want, that's a neat little strategy for me. You just do a flip opposite. It's like the polar. Okay, so often we get comfortable in that blanket there's no problem. We like pepperoni. We like that flavor. It's nice and warm. I remember, and it's kind of a neat thing. So to be imperfect and hold that intention, it's just a beautiful thing to have such a nostalgic feeling, having that pepperoni pizza again.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with it. So it isn't just always being so heightened in that state of hyper. And I don't hear you saying that. I think, bottom line, it's being okay with kind of going, I'm going to activate that danger space in myself a little bit. And each person has what is dangerous for them. So for me, danger might be this, danger might be different for you, And so whatever that is allows you to expand more into your feels, right? And when you expand more into the feels, you're more alive. And the more you're alive, the more you're energized for something. And it's like, instead of doing all of these, and I'll just say it, like, we have to be so careful. We don't orchestrate our life. So we have all these constructs that are literally not allowing us to move anymore, right? We got some on our arm, we get some on our leg. So if we're not careful, we begin to be caged up with these things that apparently will make. Why not activate instead, being like, listen, what are the passions inside of myself? What are the things that would allow me, if I be honest, like I go, oh, how about that? How about, like, my wife, she likes to knit. So she's like, how would I learn how to crochet? You're like, ooh. And then upcoming here, little fears like her mom saying things like, you don't do things well or whatever. And you know what I mean? So that's right there. So you lean into it. I find it fascinating. Often the things that we associate with dangerous, there's a reason, because let's be honest, our current solution actually gives us our current reality. So the reason that we haven't crocheted is because we have actually benefited from the anxiety of what would happen if we go from knitting to crocheting. So we've benefited from, and we just hold that solution. So our current solution creates a current reality. So if we're not happy with our current reality, now, I'm not talking about discontentment, like just a wandering, non-helpful presence, just constantly complaining, worrying about everything and anything. I'm talking about, we all have these core discontentments. And when we lean into what that feel, and sometimes we can't even, like, how you had the gasp, I had the gasp, but sometimes the gasp, it's like, we're just kind of like there.
Right.
Instead of being so worried about the lostness of not knowing what it actually is, be like, all I know is there's something that I'm just discontent with. There's this energy, this vibe going on. And it's like, wait a minute, am I willing to look at going, wait a minute, this discontentment, this feeling I'm getting, this is a solution for what? Because the only reason we don't change is because it's a solution for our needs. We only ever do what is the solution for us, never the problem. So when I look at it, so on the concept of my current solution creates my current reality, back to your whole pizza thing, like one of the ways that I would try that on for wear would just be like, if that was me, it's like what you're debating here, we're having this tension, it'd be like, well, my current solution is to feel comfortable. And that creates for me the reality of this nostalgia that I get. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But then you go, wait a minute, how is it also supporting me, not allowing me to go to new, formerly unwanted spaces, unneeded spaces that I thought, old, dangerous. You're like, oh, so what happens is I'm going to have to create a different solution to create a different reality. And so this emotion of comfort, I don't need to kill it. I just need to say, hey, listen, because that's the problem of society. Like the Puritan here in North America, Puritan's amazing, right? But this duality problem, right?
Right.
So if we could actually lean into and say, hey, listen, this is beautiful. I've already developed this art of pepperoni, like for you, or burger, fries. Listen, why am I so threatened that this pepperoni and fries and hamburger isn't hitting my plate today? Why am I so threatened when I turn the light off? Why am I so threatened? And you start going, actually, how would I go about experiencing what it's like over there? Because when I experience that, then my palate expands, like you said, beautifully said. Your worldview opens up. You live larger in life, not taking up more space, but you can be a larger beneficial presence to the world because you've taken that stuff in. So I don't know if that helps you at all, but that often for me is my current solution creates my current reality. I play that in my mind. If I'm not happy, I get to participate and do something about it in here through my inner behaviors. It isn't me waiting for some day to come, some sweet by and by type. Forget that nonsense. Stop looking for somebody who can rescue you. Be about it now. Be about it. You got all you have need of. It's in you now. Be about it and be done.
Hey, are you ready to crush it? To go after your dreams and goals and live your life to the max? Well, of course you are. That's why you're here listening or watching to the Jonesin 4 show, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But sometimes we still get stuck, right? These podcasts, this show is great, but that's not everything sometimes. Sometimes we need a little more. And you know what? I get that. What helps me and what has helped me and continues is a community. It's surrounding myself with people who are amazing, who are like-minded, like me, going after goals, achieving big things, and pushing themselves and others to be their best. Wouldn't it feel amazing to be surrounded by a community like that? To be surrounded by people who are like you, who have big goals and dreams, and they're going for them. Not only are they going for their goals, they're helping and encouraging you to go after yours. Well, if that sounds interesting, if that sounds fun, if that sounds like a community you would love to be part of, well then come check out Spencer's Energy Hub. That's right, I have our membership community, well, I should say we have a membership community that's here for you. I say we because we are the Energizers, just like you. We energize each other to be our best. We have monthly rock star interviews, right, where we interview masters in their field. We have weekly trainings. We meditate every week as a community, and you can hop and join us. You get special access to me along with an incredible community of people. So if you are ready to level up, if you are ready to be a rock star and crush your goals while being surrounded by an incredible and amazing community, check out Spencer's Energy Hub. All you have to do is go to spencersenergyhub.com and check it out. Or if you want, just head over to my website, www.spencermjones.com, and check out the hub. We would love to have you inside. All right, back to your show.
I think that's huge. Absolutely big. I don't know how else to say it. Ginormous, because how many times do we wait for someone else to come up with that solution? How many times do we wait for, tomorrow or the next day, or, next time I'll get the salad, right, instead of the pepperoni pizza? That we choose our own solution for the reality that we're in. I never heard it phrased that way, but I absolutely love how you put that together, because what solutions are we choosing? Because sometimes I bet we pick those solutions to create our reality without intentionally doing it, right? We're not actively thinking about it in that sense. We're just going through the motions and, this is comfortable, so I'm going to get this. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can have the pepperoni pizza, right? I'm just keeping with that example. You can. But if you want to keep growing, then at times, not all the time, but times you need to make that choice to have a different solution. And sometimes, like, we think of, we need to have this problem or this thing needs to change. And really, we just need to change that solution, that how we're answering it. And that can change our reality, and that can help us grow and become better. So how can we overcome that fear to pick a different solution?
That's a good one.
I'm asking all the hard questions today.
No, I love it. I know I love it. So I'm just gonna take a moment to contemplate.
Please do.
Ask the question again. Exactly. Just say it the way you say it again.
Oh God, see if I can repeat it. All right. So, so how can we embrace that fear? How can we make that choice for another solution when it's different, when we're afraid to do it?
There's many types of people in the world. One of the things that I happen to know just through my work, I do group one work, I think similar to what you do, more than likely, like the styles of play that you execute, right? Group, one-on-one, different types of work.
Yep.
And what I observe is, again, there's many types of people, but for simplicity's sake, for now, I'm going to categorize into two. There's some people that draw a line and they're like, once I reach this level, then I'm good. And other people are like, actually, you know what the line does? The other side says, the other side of humanity says, that line says that life is to be accomplished. Life is to be achieved. Life is to be conquered. Because when you do those three things, then apparently you can leave a legacy. Now, I got no problem with legacy. But what's interesting is, why are we so concerned about being remembered after we're dead? Why is that the thing? Why are we so concerned about, are we living fully now? Now. Why are we so afraid of the darkness when we're gone? That's another version of afraid of the darkness. When we're gone and our physical image is gone, our body is gone, why are we so afraid of when that's dark in that space, that people will forget us? Are we actually... are we wanting to be remembered? Like, are we wanting to be remembered or are we wanting something greater than us, like values that we stood for, to be remembered? And I think when you stand for values, then all of a sudden the line becomes not something that you participate with anymore. This is a bit of a play here, but So you ask the question, how do you go to that place? How do you activate? And I would say when the line disappears for those people, it's because they have chosen that life is not to be achieved and conquered. And they instead protect that life is a mystery. And when life's a mystery, then you can finally relax into being. Then you realize you're not God. Like some people talk about this concept of Jesus died on the cross apparently for all our sins. Maybe so, but a little play. So I deal a lot with like helping people exit duality. How about if he died on the cross for all the things that we couldn't accept?
Wow.
It's like, if you want to play with mystery a little bit, it's like, yeah, the human. He's like, you know what? He just said, Father, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. Yeah. Like they're apparently saying all these rules and follow all this stuff. So I think when you finally, I think when you finally go beyond trying to protect that the game, let me say it this way, the people that draw a line, they're actually trying to bring an end to life. They're trying to say this is the beginning, this is the end. And so in that model, there's only a few winners, typically one at the top, and everybody else has to be losers. If you engage in mystery, you protect that the game never ends, which means you ensure that the story never ends, that the debate never ends. You don't say this is the absolute. So a little bit like what you and I are doing here. We're not coming to an absolute. Like there's very few absolutes. In my opinion, there's like one absolute. There's perhaps a few, but the one is like, love. And everything hangs on love. That's all this. Like us humans doesn't matter what. We do everything for love. Like you show me anyone. You show me someone that, on the sidewalk who doesn't feel love or isn't bringing it. Instead of bringing it, they wait for it. Well, that's problem number one. But beside the point, they find a way to love. How? Well, through their other needs first. Like, you pop a gun to somebody's head, you're going to feel significant. You're going to go through all the human needs first before you're going to feel an ounce of love. And guess what? I feel bad for those people because they just wanted to have love. It's just that they went through all their things before they finally got to like, now you're going to notice me. See, now you're going to throw me in jail and the world's going to talk about me. Now that's what I wanted. So I think what's fascinating, and so I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I think what's super fascinating is, and I love the way you phrase that. What's really interesting is, we came to love first, not serve. We came to love first. And through our love, we get to serve. But if those two are flipped around, the one that's going to always be at a lost position, this person that has no self-love for himself. I've burnt out. I know what that looks like. I know, right? And so I know several things. I know much of little. All that I happen to know. So what you're saying, and if you want to ask the question again in a different way, feel free to, but just, I guess my way of just describing it, my languaging is, it's like, listen, how comfortable are you with mystery? Because mystery is the thing that gets you out of bed each morning. Like, I'll just say it this way, a short little story. So the other day, of course, COVID, right? You haven't been able to travel for a while and on and on and on. So I get out of bed and I think to myself, okay, same old thing. And I'm normally very grateful. I got this gratitude ritual and on and on. But I get out of bed and this specific morning, the sun is shining and really beautifully. I'm like, this is so nice. This is just so beautiful. But then what comes to me is, here we go again. Nothing new. I'm like, that's true. And I thought, what else is true? Because there's many truths you can put side by side. Oh, right. Nothing new again, how perhaps everything new. I'm like, what's new? Pants go on the left leg first, the sock goes on, maybe whatever. It's the same thing. Brush the teeth, throw on the hat, do the hair. That's about the choice, right?
Right.
Have coffee, do have 2 or 3. So there's some variety, but it's about the same.
Right.
Then I thought to myself, you know what? Is it true that it's same old again? There's nothing new? And I thought, actually, you know what the truth is? I've never lived this moment before. I've never woke up this day before. And so there's that space of going, oh, what's going to happen? Like that gasp. Like I look over, I've been married to Meg for 21 years. She's my Megalicious, but every day, so love's a choice. Every day I look over and I'm like, she's like all of 4, 10 and a quarter, but she's like snoozing. And I'm like, who is this baby? Because I have no idea. Because if a man ever tries to kill mystery, just look at your wife. She is someone that cannot be figured out. That's for darn sure, right?
So true.
Right? So there you go. I think to build a healthy relationship and inviting to mystery. And I'm not saying for those that draw a line, they're screwed. Listen, if it works to draw a line, no big deal. It's just that when you draw a line, you're going to bump up against, you're going to define that I only grow like this. And then sooner or later, you're going to find yourself standing on the sidelines, observing people play. And probably I see a lot of people being resentful of it. Right. So, yeah.
I love that idea of a line and then it moving. So a fix as opposed to growth, right? A movement, a mindset is right where my mind went to with that. And the people who struggle, who I should say, we perceive who struggle in life, right? Because maybe they're not struggling in their opinions. They might be doing great. I don't know. But the people we perceive who are struggling in life are the ones who have that fixed mindset. They're stuck in the same old ways. It's a day after day. It's that same routine. Oh, an obstacle came up. Oh, this roadblock came up on my path to this goal that I set. And now I'm stopped. Now I can't do anything about it. This is done. It's over, whatever. Unlike the people who enjoy mystery, who enjoy being flexible or can be flexible and go, all right, let's grow from this. This obstacle came up, this roadblock. How can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? How can we move around it? What's an alternate route to get around this roadblock so that we can keep going on this journey? Maybe we need to adapt and change, but we're flexible. And that's just looking at it from that mindset perspective. But we need to enjoy the mystery. And how many times do we want, as humans, we want to be matter of fact, we want black and white answers, we want it super clear. And the joy in life, I shouldn't say all the joy, but I would say the majority of joy in life comes from that mystery and discovering it as you go along. I think when Katie, my wife, and I, when we walked up and hiked up a mountain in Romania, first of all, we traveled to Romania, never been there before, don't speak the language. We've got there and driving through some not the greatest areas of town, we're going, what the heck are we doing? Did we make a poor choice here? But, we got there, we realized, okay, we're in a safe hotel, we're in a safe place. Then we walked outside the next day and went, oh, look how it's so different. It was such a learning experience. We could have been stopped at our tracks, said, nope, we're going back on the airplane, heading back home, right? Do the 15-hour flight back home. No, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're like, let's give it a shot. So we go travel, we go do these different tours. We meet some really interesting people and some amazing people along the way. And we learn in group because we were open to this mystery and uncovering it and discovering it and knowing that. I love how you said with looking at your wife in the morning, right? Your kids, even your dog or whatever. You can look, they're not the same person. They're not the same animal. They're not the same. This moment has never been lived before by anyone else. Embrace it. See what you can learn. See what you can embrace and enjoy and savor, and see what you can give to others in that moment. Discovering your wife, let's stick with our spouses. So discovering them, what do they like? How are they? How can you make their day even more amazing, right? As we go through our life. I love it. That life's a mystery. It is. There's a couple concrete things that we might know, like love. Love is energy. Love is everything. Outside of that, well, it can all change. But let's be open to that mystery.
It's interesting on that playful note when you say, it can all change, right? So I went on your website and had a look at what your work was before the show. And so now I see you out here. And sometimes we create these snap judgments. We're like, I wonder what would have created that human being. We're like, oh, I'm fascinated, right? So, I came on the show and I'm like, gee, I wonder, has that guy traveled around the world? Like, if you look at his hair, I love it. The guy's a wild man. I like that. What is that? Beneath his hat is a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of hair, right? It looks really short here, but it's kind of wild right behind here. But it's a little bit like, so you go to Romania, right? It's like, oh, I find myself in Romania. It's like, yeah, it's a lived experience. And just to kind of build on what you're saying, I love the way you frame that. You have your wife, Katie, right? And you go, who is this person? Who is this person? Like, she's brand new today. Like, I may know how she was yesterday, but if I give myself and her the full permission to exist fully, that means she's constantly, like, when you sleep, you get stuff done in your sleep you cannot get done when you're awake. So you become a different human being. Like, from second to second, you're different. So if you ever think you know someone, oh, here they go again. No, you don't know what they're doing. You may know it. You may have an hallucination or a pattern connect that you think is happening. But so it's really fascinating to that. So just to the point on mystery and flexibility. When I think about you and Katie, I've never met her, but just I can imagine, right? So you got great energy. I imagine she's a lovely soul. So you land in Romania and there you are and you're like, oh, should we pack up and go back? And it's like, what's interesting? When we bring together our comforts and our discomforts, look at the support. it's kind of like, so I would encourage all of your listeners even to just be about, listen, this isn't just about activating some level of discomfort on a consistent, continual basis. It's bringing that daily for sure, being very aware, but to enjoy the comforts, enjoy that bone broth, that nice warm. Listen, and I don't, this is really weird, but Katie, right? It's a bone broth. So I didn't mean to say it. So you're in Romania and she's your comfort blanket, right? She's your comfort blanket for the moment.
100%.
And right. And then you and her together and this is sometimes when you take people who have fears and you put them together, but people who believe that fears actually draw them deeper, not make them go wrong in the other direction. It's all of a sudden like these fears, you let it drive you to and for something greater. And so I often think the toggling between, so on my podcast, I think it's podcast number 10, where I talk about power band maturation, where it's like the gift of life and to feel the living is to toggle between states, like flexibility states and comfort states, to toggle between and not be like, which is right, which is wrong. You be like, oh, these are informing each other in real time as I get to exist and co-create with this energy. And it's like, oh my goodness, honey, we thought we should go back and fly back. No, we're not going to go back in the plane. We're going to take a plane into the bush and it's got one prop and I think half of it's cracked. Let's go. I mean, that's very risky. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying that has to be done, but I love that, right? Toggling between what you're inflexible to currently and what your comforts are. And I think therein lies, that's how we bring more comfort to our uncertainty and we add more to the things we're comfortable with. All of a sudden we can have this experience and it's like, yeah, we're not God, we're not Jesus, we're not like Buddha, we're not any of these people, we're not Ram Dass, we're not like, I'm not you, you're not like me, but it's like, oh yeah. To feel and to literally wake up to the reality. Don't get me wrong, grace is everything. Without grace, there's nothing. You and I try to make a tree grow, we can't do it. We got a headache, we can't cure ourselves from a headache if we try.
Right.
Grace is everything, but we get to participate with that magic. That grace, we get to participate with it. And what is that grace? We get to actually be right there in the zone. And to the exact degree you want to live, you actually can activate your control mechanisms. What you have control over yourself. What do you do when you feel disturbed? The plane never takes off with wind. The plane is always going against wind. It's got to go. If it doesn't, it's never going to take flight. I'll say it this way real quick. Last night, my little Meg and I, we went to this store here in Canada. It's called London Drugs. And so she wanted to get some bubble bath stuff and a whole bunch of different products. And she's like, I want to get some girly stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the ingredients going, honey, you sure paraben? She goes, it's girly. I'm like, she goes, I want experience. I want this fizzle. I'm like, awesome. Do what you want. Whatever. You do what you want. I'm just trying to help you, but fair enough, right? Anyway, so we get to the cashier. And the cashier says, okay, so what's your phone number, please? How they're trying to like track with, and that's fair. We have a number. So we give them the number. And then I said, oh, by the way, I just thought this through. Like apparently for my birthday, it happens like every year, once a year, we all have a birthday. And I said, well, at least for most of us, if you're born
most of us have a birthday every year.
Yeah, most, except for the leap year people, not perhaps. But then I said, oh, by the way, on our birthday, apparently we get this $5 credit. I just thought of it now. I have no idea. If you don't mind, just apply it to the transaction. And they're like, oh, so they're struggling to find it. And finally I said, don't worry about it. We don't want to give you a headache. We're just going to keep on our way and keep going. And then this guy, this young chap just does a great job. He's just trying to explain it to us. And he says, the reason that we do ask these questions, we're just trying to make it easier for you. And I looked at him. I didn't say anything. So I'm like, this wasn't the time to say it. But I'm like, oh, thanks. And I just smiled and thanks. And then we walked into the store and Meg and I, we looked at each other and Meg's like, yeah, how's that the answer? I want to make it easier for you. Wait a minute. Life's already way too easy for us. You want to see how the human gets nowhere? Make it easy. Nothing happens if it's easy. Nothing. The hard stuff, that's what you really want. That's what you actually really want, because that's what's going to lead you to another place. People often, they fight for this, utopia or euphoria. It's going to be amazing. It's like, oh, everything's taken care of. We are wrestling between the tension of depression, and while the other side is completely different, boredom. So somewhere between is where active life is. So depression and boredom, that's actually the two psychodynamics. Those are the two edges. We're in the middle. And if we actually want to not be bored, we're not going to do utopic crap.
Right.
And depression is just going, yeah, it's the darkness and constantly about the darkness and about, it's like, yeah, let there be darkness. I love it. Meaning let there be light, meaning to toggle between the two. Let the mystery go. It's moving, that anything is moving. Shoot, there's so much movement. Just go. Let yourself into it. Just
It's that
be it.
propeller disturbing the air, helping you fly. You have to have that disturbance
Oh,
to
so good.
make it happen, to have that utopic life, to have that enjoyable life where you keep learning and growing and improving. There's going to be those disturbances, and that's what you need to grow.
I love the analogy propeller, because that's the movement. It's all shaking. It's all designed to get you stirring it up. So it's like Bob Marley, right? Stir it up. You can feel something. So to take yourself from a place of going, you know what? I feel a little sad today. Awesome. You don't need to identify with it. Just participate with it, meaning accept it.
Right.
I feel a little energized today. Amazing. That's that's a toggle, that throwing back and forth. You are at the controls. You get to decide if you want to take that throttle and turn it up or turn it down. Because if you think you're not, somebody's going to tell you that they are.
Right.
And somebody's not even going to tell you. Someone's going to just say, oh, you don't have control of your throttle? Well, I guess we need to. Because if you're not, then we're going to. And then now you're at the chagrin, you're at the controls of somebody else. And then your only option is to be resentful.
And that's exactly. And how many of us are like that? We've seen that within political systems. And I mean, just throwing out more recent, like all the different things in our life, we get resentful, or people who tell us we don't have control, or making it seem like we don't, when in truth you do. You are in control of your controllables, of where you toggle between, how much energy you put into it, all that. But listen to yourself, take that control and lead your own life, because once you do, it is ridiculously empowering. You have more energy, you have more enthusiasm. You are at a whole new level than you were before. When you let someone else to be the captain of your ship, you're now the captain. And now you can say where it goes, and you can enjoy and savor the moments that much more. Love it.
I love it. To me, it's about, and just to kind of tap into what you're saying, just activated this perspective. And I think if we're awake, then we do the opposite from running away from what disturbs us. I think we get about the initiatory action to be about creating it. Not unhelpful, but not be about reacting, not be about responding, but we get to initiate, we get to choose. Initiatory action is a choice. It's the highest vibratory state of movement, to initiate. And when we self-induce, when we create the pressure from within, then you have and you activate your ability to surpass your perceived capabilities. You're going to wait for the world to give you pressure. You might be waiting forever. As a matter of fact, guess what you're going to be waiting for? You're going to be waiting for the kind of quality challenges that you like most, or that you think are going to help you. Wait a minute. You might be having to look everywhere, flipping channels, doing, stop. How about you create that pressure so that you can surpass your perceived capabilities? It's like, wait a minute. I love it what you're saying about propeller. You own your, are you the owner of your plane? Are you the owner of your flight called life? Right? Own that stuff. Create the pressure. Don't wait for, because guess what? The quality of pressure that you're going to be waiting for, or that you're going to be receiving, if you wait for others to bring it to you, they'll probably not be the one that's specifically helpful. And guess what? Then you're wondering why you're not hitting your exact target in life. Why? And not target as in like you don't leave room for mystery. You're like, it always feels kind of empty.
Right. It's not as fulfilling. It's not as exciting. And you always feel like there's this little something missing. And that's because someone else is generally taking the ship, taking control, and you're not leading it. Be the owner of your airplane, own that propeller, make that disturbance, and guide where you're going. There's nothing wrong with having guide tech. That's what we do with Jonesin 4. That's what you do. We help guide people with their disturbances so that they can have the best experience and get to their destination. But that's all we are. We are guides. You have to do that disturbance yourself. And that's how growth happens. It's through that disturbance, through that darkness, tied all the way back to the beginning, to the light and darkness. You are making that disturbance. You are embracing that darkness, having your flashlight as a kid and saying, you know what, we're going to turn it off and we're going to adjust our eyes to this darkness and learn and grow from this. Holy cow, brother, this has been mind-blowing. I appreciate it so much.
Well, it's so good. And you know what, I'll just say this, when you see another brother about the work of, when I went on your website, I just got a little flavor, right? You look at some people, they're always about, this, everything is good, everything's good, everything's good. And then other people, you're like, yeah, there's another level to where this goodness comes from. Right. And so I just honor you deeply. I honor you. Yeah, I just want to take this time. And so for your listeners, you guys got an amazing, amazing person with, the Jones and Force show. Spencer here is an amazing soul. I know probably less of him than you do, but I'll be honest, and I know you feel it, so you know what he's all about. And so he's about going deeper, and he's about taking you to a place of going, is it safe for? And, for you to raise your hand and say, listen, trust me as your guide. You know what kind of courage that takes? What kind of humility that takes? Mm. That is so deep, especially if you do it through the lens of how I observe you're doing it. Not just I got it all figured out kind of stuff. That takes a whole bunch of courage, and that takes humility. And so I just want to say a deep honor and a deep place of gratitude for people like you, brother. It's humbling. It's humbling. Even though your hair is the way it is, but you should see my hair. It's down now. There you go.
It looks even better without the hat there. Just looking stylish as ever. But seriously, thank you so much for the kind words. I truly appreciate your energy, your life, and your love being sent my way. So thank you so much. It means the world to me. And I was about to say the same with you and knowing your website. So, we'll be upfront. Like we just learned about each other a little while ago. We jumped on a call. We found out we resonated really well together. And I need to share him with all of you. So we don't know each other that well, but we do know we resonate well. And when I was on your website, checking you out, I'm like, holy crap, this guy does so much for his people, for the people that follow him. He gives them so much energy. He guides them. And just your aura, your energy, that love that you share, it just oozes out from your website that as I was looking, I'm like, holy crap, this guy's amazing. I can't wait to chat with him and to get to know him more. And I know that the people that you work with, that follow you, that are in your family, feel it too, and you support them. So how can our tribes, our families, our energizers work together? How can my energizer family, all of us, how can we work with you more? How can we learn about you? And they could discover your energy more than just you're on the show.
Mm-hmm. I have a website and I have a podcast. And, of course, when you go to either of those places, you'll get to know a bit about who I am as a person. And, let me just say it this way. I'm all about a collaborative space, and I'm all about not a little off topic, but I'm all about ensuring that it's not about me, in that whatever work that I ever put forward. So however people choose to participate with it, some people choose to participate with a podcast by listening to it. Some people choose to do some group work. Some people come to a live event. Some people choose to do one-on-one coaching. However it is that they participate, that firstly, they come hungry and active in their own rescue, because they will not find in me someone who is too interested in throwing them a floaty or any rescue device, because that would be non-activating their transformation. That would just be me standing in the way. Right. And they're only as strong until I'm not there again. And that's not helpful. Right. And so to me, and I guess the point being that, like I was saying earlier, it's not about me. It's about waking up a perspective inside the other. And so to me, I'm just part of the larger play of really helping you as a human dip and dive and glean new perspectives, regardless of, so you have a tone, Spencer, I have a tone, they have a tone. And I think you and I are similar in the space. So we're collaborating in the space. We go, hey, listen, whatever wakes you up to your new perspective. This isn't so that we can solve to be some God figure over here. It's not the idea. The idea is just to, hey, listen, does this actually bring up something for you? And then that you can participate with that, whatever is directly in front of you. And it's like, oh, that's beautiful. Right. So anyway, to make a long story short, website. So go to www.jamesheppner.com. There you go. JAMESHEPPNER.com. or if you need me, some of you that may want to have a conversation with me, fantastic. Just shoot me an email. You can go to my contact page as well, but shoot me an email at coach@James Heppner. Again, that's JAMES Heppner.com. But anyway, to your subscribers, to your list, I just want to say, yeah, you guys got a great host here. And I've just been so honored to have him here. And so, yeah, he made me look pretty today. So there you go. He dressed me all up. He made it easy for me. So yeah, you got a rock star in him. That's great.
Dude, well, you did the same with me, and I truly appreciate it. This conversation has been amazing, super insightful on my end. New phrases, new ways to look at things, new lenses to view life, and I truly appreciate that. So thank you so much, everyone. JamesHeppner.com. Check it out. Send him an email. Subscribe to his podcast. You already subscribed to this one. Go check his out. Subscribe as well, so that you're getting amazing energy, not just from me, but from James, and filling your life with this incredible love. So with that, and if you can't find it, JamesHeppner.com, just go to our website. We'll have it there, SpencerMJones.com. Look for the Jones and Forrest Show. You'll find all that good stuff. But in any case, James, amazing. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you.
All right. Take care. Thanks. Take care.
And everyone, if you love this episode, let us know. Take a screenshot of this, share it out on social media, tag us, send us an email with a takeaway you've had. We would both love to hear from you about one of your takeaways from this episode. And as always, please like and subscribe. And remember, you are awesome. You are amazing just the way you are. You don't need to change anything, do anything, or prove anything. You are enough. So keep living your life to the max.